everyone. We'll be starting the webinar shortly. Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Ben and I work in the client team, and I'm joined by Mark, who heads up our customer service operation.
Hello everyone. You can ask us questions in the chat window as we go through today's webinar, and we'll do our best to answer them during the session.
So we're going to give you a tour around the platform today, covering all the main elements of how to fund your account, how to filter and understand the different types of investment opportunities, and how to buy and sell shares.
So to show you around fully, we'll be using both the live site and a series of screenshots, just to ensure we can cover off all the necessary details. So some elements won't look exactly like what you can see today on the platform in the live environment. We are going to show you around the platform as a registered user. However, if you haven't yet registered your account, you can do so by clicking on the sign up option in the top right hand corner on our homepage. The first thing we're going to show you is how to fund. There are two options to fund your account after you've logged in. You can do this either by using a debit card or via a bank transfer. You would fund by clicking on your name here in the top right hand corner and selecting the funds account option. When you're on the funding page, you'll see the options to pay using a debit card or the option to pay with a bank transfer. When funding with a debit card, you simply enter the requested card information and the amount and then click submit. Once this has been successfully processed, the funds will be available for you to use on your property partner account immediately. Should you opt to fund using a bank transfer here, you'll see the banking details are provided for you to provide to your bank. The reference is unique to each investor and would need to be quoted to allow us to allocate the funds to you. We also provide here the account details required to make a payment to us from an overseas bank account.
Great, thank you, Mark. So if we start looking at the property investments available, and just for a bit of context, our in-house property team, made up a team of property experts, review hundreds, if not thousands, of properties each month on behalf of our clients and investors, with the aim that we can bring multiple new launches each month to the platform. On the exchange itself, you can today invest in over 100 different properties across 3 different asset types. So we offer properties across residential, purpose-built student accommodation, and commercial property as well.
So properties are either listed as a new listing or previously funded properties with shares for sale. New listings are properties that are being funded for the first time, so shares are available to be purchased at the initial funding price. The new listing properties are released initially in a pre-order phase for either 1 or 2 weeks, where investors can place an order for the amount they'd like. As there's no limit on the amount that can be ordered during this phase, it can be subject to scale back if it oversubscribes. Then, once the pre-order phase closes, it moves to a live funding stage where it will remain open for investments until it fully funds. You can see that here. There's also the opportunity to purchase shares in properties available on our resale market, an example of which again is here. These properties have already been funded, so you are purchasing shares on the secondary market from other investors. On the secondary market, there's over 100 different property investments to choose from, and you can filter accordingly to your preferred location, asset type, and more. You can buy at the lowest offer price or put in your own bid price and see if anyone will match you. We'll talk more about that later. The price of your shares tracks the price of the property, which is valued by an independent chartered surveyor.
So if we go across to the site itself, Mark, we can look at the type of information that we supply, so you can review all of this before deciding to invest in each individual property investment deal. So the property we're looking at is in the Isle of Wight. We'll provide all the necessary photography, so you can see the properties if you were viewing it yourself. And then below the property photography, we'll take you through the full investment case. So what the property is, what the investment structure is, or the pertinent information that you'd want to know if you were investing in that property directly yourself, but we've consolidated all that for you. You can see below the investment case the property details section as well. This gives more context to the actual structure of the property details. So in this scenario, you can see all the different addresses and compositions of the different flats and houses within this investment opportunity. You see the purchase price that's been secured, and also the vacant possession value or breakup price, which feeds into the exit mechanic for each individual property. You can also see the total return forecasts. In this example, there have been a residential property from a range of different research agencies to give you an indication of what we feel that the forecast return may be. You can see details about the mortgage, the rental information, and anything else that might be relevant to that investment case. We also show and present details such as the floor plans, so you can really see the different makeup of each individual flat or house in that investment scenario. At the bottom of the page, you can also see the kind of detailed financial breakdown, so you can see how the share valuation is derived. You can see the purchase price and all the individual purchase costs that are made up within that investment case. You can also look at the house price index tab to look at past performance of this property to give you more of an indication of the region that this property is in. And you can look at the rental income breakdown, so the forecasted gross rent per year and all the costs, which comes to the net dividend yield that we present on the platform. So the forecast dividend yield that we'll pay out after all fees and costs of investing on our platform. And then there's a map view as well, so you can see the detailed location information if you want to look at that view as well.
So I'm just going to show you how a previously funded property looks and take you all through the bids and offers graph that we mentioned earlier and explain it in a bit more detail. So I'm just going to go into one of our properties on the resale market here in Lincoln. So you see here on this one, there's a bar graph. Now the bar graph here shows the current shares that have been placed for sale on the resale market. These are known as offers, and they're investors that currently hold shares in this property who are looking to liquidate. Now they've listed them at different prices, and there's total amounts available for each price. Here you can see in the green the current bids that are in place for shares on this property. So these are investors that are currently looking to buy shares in this property, and they've set a price that they're willing to pay. And again, there's different amounts available at each bid price. So just for an example, you can see here there's just over £5,700 worth being bid at 61 pence for shares in this property. You can also see a bar graph here showing the different average price that shares have been purchased at, and if you hover over each one, you can see how much has been purchased at each price across a total period of time. And you can also see the total volume traded on this, and you can see it over a 30-day, 7-day, or even a 1-day window.
Great, thank you, Mark. Probably makes sense now to have a look at the actual process of buying and selling shares.
Sure. So first of all, it's important to understand that there's a difference between buying and bidding for shares on a property. So we're going to look at buying shares first of all. So when you click on the buy option, it will take you to a page where it asks you how much you're looking to buy. Now, when you put an amount in here, it's going to calculate what the average price is that you have to pay for shares in this property to buy that amount now, and that's based on what the current offers are available on the platform or on this particular property. So, for example, here, if you put in £5,000, we know from the graph that there's over that amount available at 63 pence. So my average share price is 63 pence. It shows me how many shares I'm going to purchase. Should I change that, just say to £30,000? That's going to change the average share price, and I'm going to pay slightly more on average for the shares because it obviously goes over the amounts available at 63 pence. So the buy is simply you saying that you want to buy shares now, and it will just average the price that you need to pay. Now, if we go back to bids, bids work slightly different. Bids is where you can set the price that you're willing to pay. Now, shares aren't necessarily going to be available at that price at the moment, but once you enter a bid, it will sit in the system until shares are offered at your selected price, should they be offered at that price at any time. When they're offered at the price that you've bid for, it will automatically match your bid and purchase those shares for you. So obviously it's important that you have the funds available on your account. If you don't, it will just scale it down appropriately anyway. But if you see here, I can change the price that I'm willing to pay, so I can decrease it down. It will tell me the yield that I'll get for my investment, so that's the annual rental yield, and the discount I'll be paying based on the latest valuation. Once I've then clicked bid, it will enter the bid into the system.
Great, and Mark, once a customer has done that, they'll be able to view all of that information in their account dashboard. That's correct.
So this is a picture of the dashboard. Any pending investments that I have, which are investments into a new listing or pre-order property, so investments where the property hasn't yet completed on purchase, will show my pending investments. But any that have completed, or if I've bought from the resale market, they'll show as current investments. So this is a good opportunity for me now to show you the flip side of the buy and bid, which is how to sell your shares. So you see here on the page there's a current investment and an option in blue to sell. Now if I click on that sell option, it will take me to a page where I can list my shares. Again, it shows me the bids and offer graph. So this will allow me to, maybe if I wanted to, set a price which will allow me to sell the shares immediately, so effectively match these bids that are in place. Or alternatively, I can list it at a price more where I'm looking for, and it will list it on the site until a subsequent bid may come in. When I change the price or set the price, it will tell me, based on that, achieving that price, what my total return will be. Now my total return is my profit after all costs and what I paid initially. The sales proceeds is exactly how much I'm going to get back by selling them at that price. And again, I'll click on sell and it'll put the sell order into the system.
Great, thanks for showing us that, Mark. Whilst you were doing that, I was just having a look through the chat window and we had a few questions that have come in. So whilst we're coming to the end of the formal kind of walkthrough, it's probably good to cover those now. So a couple of questions in terms of, once I've invested, how soon do I start earning an income?
So your funds will start earning you income from the moment actually that they're invested. So we pay our dividends on the 5th of each month, or if that's a bank holiday or weekend, it will be the next working day. When you invest in a new listed property, you won't earn the rental income straight away, but we pay immediate income at 2% from the moment you invest. And that's up until the completion of the property purchase, at which point you'll start to earn the income based on that dividend yield.
And then related to that, there's a question in there in terms of how long does it actually take to complete on a property purchase once you've brought that to the platform?
Sure. So I mean, each property and the process has to go through is slightly different, as with any property purchase. But typically, it can take between 6 to 8 weeks from the moment the property fully funds. We do have an in-house property conveyancing team who deal with all the legal complications, so our investors don't have to worry about all that.
Great, thank you, Mark. And just picking one more out of there, also running out of time, is a couple of people have said, once I start to receive that income, where is it paid to?
So that's good actually, because you'll see that I've left on the screen the dashboard. So to answer the question, we pay it directly to your property partner account, and then from here you can invest it into other properties at any time you wish, or withdraw it to a bank account in your name. Now, You'll see on the dashboard here, there's an available funds section. So the money will be paid into your account and it will show up in your available funds. The other bits on here are the latest valuation. You'll see here under your portfolio. So that's the latest valuation of the property that you have shares in, and it also shows you on this dashboard the dividends that you received, any realised capital gains, and the latest valuation gains. Now this particular account we've looked at is a new account, so there's no dividends received yet. But this is what you'll see once you start investing, because obviously you won't have a dividends immediately. But obviously once you start to accrue the dividends, then this will show under your performance section.
Cool, thank you, Mark, and thank you everyone for joining us today and submitting your questions during the session. If we didn't quite catch it before the end of the session, we'll go through those following the completion of the webinar, and we'll get back to you on email. And if you think of anything else in the meantime, you can contact us at any time. I'm sure if you jump onto live chat following this, Mark will probably be the person that picks it up. Or you can email us at support@propertypartner.co. And just as a reminder, as with any investing, your capital is at risk. The value of your investment can go down as well as up. And you can view all the key risks on our website at propertypartner.co. But thanks again for joining us today.
Thank you very much. Bye.